All right, well, keep it positive, sweetie fans. This was quite the episode with Devale Ellis as the guest. Family over everything. Let me just say this much. If there was one thing I could nitpick at for being a factor of why I didn't care for the episode as much as I thought, I can't pinpoint anything. I'm sorry. But the one thing I do have to say is like, dang, it was only 57 minutes or so. I'm like, that was my only thing. As soon as I saw the runtime, I'm like, I know good and well. I know good and well the most anticipated episode of the podcast doesn't even clock in at a full hour. But look, all jokes aside, because I truly enjoyed the episode, I was not expecting it to be so heavy. Now, let me tell you what my favorite part was. Let me tell you what my favorite part of this episode was. It was the fact that we didn't get what we expected. Now, when I did a quick video on the initial clip that was released, and I saw Devale's emotion in there, I'm like, you know what? I think this episode is going to flip the script because let's be real. How many of you were assuming that the episode featuring Devale would be just sisters and Zatima everywhere? Zatima this, season 3 this, or season 5 of Sisters this? You know, they would just go back and forth about the shows. I knew from that clip, I said in my video, I said, you know what? I don't think the episode is going to be what people expect. And it wasn't. I want to say within the first, 3 to 7, 8 minutes, that's where they talked about how their characters came to be on the show and how they blew up. But other than that, they quickly shifted gears to Devale. And I love that because this, I saw a post, I think it was around the time Crystal did the live show a few weeks ago. And I don't know if Crystal posted this herself, but, you know, a lot of fans have so much talent when they put together fan made, you know, like on, posters or whatever. And it says something to the effect of, I'm not my character isn't me, or something like that. And I said, I like that because that's what Keep It Positive, Sweetie is about. It's not about Fatima, it's about Crystal. And yeah, they could have easily milked this out doing like a 2 hour or Cat Williams length. I love how that's become a phrase now. You know, oh yeah, my meeting at work was as long as the Cat Williams interview or something like that, you know, because something was extenuously long. But they could have easily milked it out to do like a 2 hour episode where they just talked about their characters and whatnot. But it wasn't about that. It was about Devale, his upbringing, his family, his career. And it really felt like you know how the New Edition story came out and then the Bobby Brown story came out as a compliment to that, because basically it gave you the full scope of Bobby Brown's story, because New Edition story focused on the group, but the Bobby Brown story kind of filled in the pieces of what was going on in Bobby's world inside and outside the New Edition circle. And I felt the same way when you watch Kadeen's interview from a week or two ago, and then you combine it with Devale's interview that happened this week. It makes for one full story, and I just love that. Really, to talk about my favorite part, I think it had to do with Devale's conversation on religion, but I'll hop back to that. I just love how Devale became somewhat of like a chameleon in his career from what he originally wanted, which he loved, you know, like the theater and the arts and whatnot. But I believe he said this was like in the early 90s or something, where there was like a community or youth center or something like that he would go to. But, you know, it wasn't really looked at in a positive light for a young man to be doing those kind of things, because, you know, they might get labeled like, oh, he, you know, gay or whatever. So he opted to do the sports side of things. And then after dealing with his injury, he started, you know, trying to do training and whatnot, be like a physical trainer, fitness coach. And then that's when he started trying to do, you know, different things like commercials and whatnot. And even through the hardships, things worked out the way it was supposed to. And boom, that's how he is where he is now, with the support of his family and just, you know, being like a leader in his circle. And it's great because he tries to make sure everybody wins. And I just love that, where he has opportunities available, or he makes them for people's like, you know what? Do I know somebody that can use extra 15 grand in their pocket? Let me help them, you know, hey, link up with my, company or my business or whatever. I'll make you a position so you can work. It's just great to see that kind of thing. But I think the religion aspect is what touched me the most, because he kind of dealt with, I guess you can almost call it as like religious shaming when he was a preteen. And, most of, if not all of his family hold different roles in the church, from deacons and whatnot. And when he was young, he asked questions about, if God made a mistake, because like y'all say, God don't make mistakes. But, what about the devil, because he was originally like, what was he, like the minstrel of music or something to that effect? He was like an angel, but then he fell. And when you ask those kind of questions, you could easily be labeled as a religious, rebel, if you will. Like, how dare you? And that's something that parents need to realize. And I'm not just talking about parents, but, teachers and whatnot. When you could tell who is being a smartass and who is asking a legitimate question. And sometimes, because I said so, really isn't a viable answer, especially for someone at a young, impressionable age. And the people who were in charge of shaping their religious experience, especially, in the church and whatnot, that's going to impact them for the rest of their life. That's, they'll look at not just the religion, but Christians in a different way. And I just love the fact that despite the way he was labeled as a kid within the church, which is supposed to be welcoming and whatnot, he never let that dictate how he looked at God. It's like, just because the people in the church didn't really show him the care and attention for someone so curious about the faith, he never, went like, I'm done with, just Christianity and whatnot. No, he wanted to learn, and he did so as he got older, different religions and whatnot. And I really did enjoy that, because it shows that you can worship God in your own fashion. It's just that we were called to make believers of people out in the world. But when you get older, you realize that there's more than one way. 2 plus 2 is not the only way to get to 4, if you know what I'm saying. And, me, I can speak from my own experience. I grew up as a Baptist, and as you all know, I mentioned this in another video, but the plot of land I have where my house is going is literally next to my home church. I think aside from like a field and a grove of trees, the next building is my church. So church is like 45 seconds from my house. I could literally walk there if I wanted to. But the church, I had problems with the church growing up, because we had a lot of friction in the church between the sitting pastor at the time, and I guess you could say like the leaders of the church, like the older deacons and whatnot. And it was a lot of friction. So as a kid, it was weird, because I went to church. I like Devale. I went to church all the time. Different organizations I was in, choir, go around, speaking at different churches. And it didn't hit me until college, because I went to a Christian school. I went to Liberty University, and I was just curious, because religion wasn't my main focus. I was going for a communication degree in advertising and public relation, but I still got an associate's in religion and a minor in biblical studies. But I still wanted to learn more. So I went to graduate school. I went to seminary. I got 2 masters. Wow, I know it's bad, but I haven't verbally had to talk about my college degrees in quite a while, because I'm doing YouTube. But it was what was it? A master's of religion and leadership, and another one in dang it, I forgot what it was called. Basically, it was another master's in seminary. I forgot. I think it was either Christian studies or something. I gotta look. I'll have my master's in the background of my office when I get set up, so you'll see then. But I also earned the 5 certificates, graduate certificates within the seminary. So I came out of seminary with 5 pieces of paper, 2 masters and 5 graduate certificates. So I felt like, Thanos or Dragon Ball with the 7 Dragon Balls. So, and that's because I had a thirst for knowledge, because the deeper, that's the thing about the Bible. It's like every time you read the same verse, you'll find something different out of it. So I think that's pretty amazing. So yeah, even though Devale doesn't have the quote unquote best relationship with the church, it never impacted his passion for the Lord, which I find to be very awesome. And it's just amazing, because in one of my first classes in college, I forgot what it was called because they've changed the curriculum. Remember, I worked at Liberty in the call center for like 3 years, so I kind of saw some of what was going on in terms of the way they changed the different programs and class names. But it was like a general studies or something. It was like an intro to religion kind of class. But I learned how various different religions at the core have the same beliefs, but guess what? They just have different labels in terms of like various different religions, because they literally had a couple of pages in the book that if you put them together, it was like a tree. And even though the different branch, even though the trunk and the roots, at the core, it was all about God and whatnot, you saw as the branches went out, oh, okay, so Muslims believe this, and the people believe in Buddha, do this, and Christians, it's just so crazy that even though there are so many different labels, at the end of the day, most of these same religions have the same beliefs, just in different, they just go about practicing in different ways. Sorry about this. I didn't mean to go on a religious tangent, but that was my biggest takeaway from this interview. And also the fact that people just at this point just drop the whole, Crystal and Devale, they got something going on. No, they're family. They're family. I didn't get any of those vibes during this episode at all. If nothing else, it was just showing the bond between these two, which I felt was awesome. And you just can't help but root for these two, their support system, including their family, friends, co-stars, and whatnot, because you want to see them win. And all I can say is this: if you look at these two, you can't help but feel, excited for them, because based on what we know of their stories, it seems like they're reaping the, harvest from the hard work, the sacrifice, the patience, the faith that they've had to make it to where they are in life right now. So that's really all I got to say. And like I said, I think that was the best takeaway, aside from the religion aspect, was that this episode was not all about Zach or Fatima. It was about Devale. So let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section below. If you haven't watched it already, make sure you go check it out. I'll leave a link in the comment section. So what did you think of Family Over Everything? Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next video.